this is where we're going to talk about something called escape. Escape is, so this is, you can write under it, little e, and I like to write all the other letters capital. I want you inside the triangle to basically draw 5 rows. So you have 5 sections. The bottom one is little e. I may have done that wrong. Maybe there's supposed to be 6. All right. S, C, A, P. Yep, there's supposed to be 6. And at the very top, there's a big E. So you spell escape going upwards. And the goal that we have here is to go from employee to entrepreneur. So let's talk about why we even need to make this journey to begin with. See, when we are raised in this society and put through our educational system, there's one problem. And the problem is that we are never taught to be entrepreneurs. We truly are not. We are taught to be employees. The system is created for that. See, when you grow up, there's a very cute child running around in the back over there. I've seen him a few times, or her. And that child's an entrepreneur right now. Seriously, everything is an opportunity. In 2 years, when you ask that child what they want to be, they're going to say, I want to be Superman. And when you tell them, dude, that's not real, it's fake, that child's going to look at you and be like, are you stupid? I'm going to be Superman. And they believe it. With every cell in their body, they believe they're going to be Superman. And the kid just left. Come on. Because he can do he does what he wants, right? He's an entrepreneur. He's roaming, he's observing. The thing is, as we grow up, suddenly we go to school and we have a teacher. Do this right now. We have parents. No, 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 no. We begin to bring this massive world of opportunity and make it smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Of course, in an effort to keep the child alive, I get that, but this is what's happening. Child gets a little bit older, they have a coach, they join the team. Have a coach, do this, do that, do this, do that. Before you know it, they're in high school, and now they have to study for a standardized test because they have to score well on it, because people they've never met at these universities, never will meet, are going to look at a score and look at few numbers and determine the future of their life. So now all of a sudden I'm working to build a resume that will be evaluated by people who don't know me, who will then control the future of my life. So I'm going to build a rap sheet that is so impressive to others. I will live to serve. Doesn't stop there. I finally impress them. I get into college, I get one to college. I go to college, and right there my guidance counselor is like, you better score well. You better have a good GPA. You better join some associations. You better learn how to do interviews. And yet again, I will find myself 4 years and $100,000 later sitting in front of an individual who within a 30-minute window will determine if I'm worth it. That's what we have to look forward to. So again, we make decisions and do those things that will impress others. Employee mindset. Then we get to work. We got a job. Yeah, it's all right. Now I get to make money. And now immediately you want the next promotion. You better work hard. Better put in those extra hours. Better volunteer for those committees. Better smile and say, hi, boss. Because that boss is to determine what your future in that company is. So the whole time you are constantly working to impress others, you live your life for others. Yes? Yes. Does that make sense? Yes. And now all of a sudden, as an entrepreneur, you got a big problem. Ain't nobody there to tell you what to do. Seriously. You are accountable to the worst person in the world, and that is yourself, because you can give yourself excuses, answers, justifications all day long and get away with it. No one to hold you accountable. Yet you're destroying yourself when you do it. So there's this journey we have to go through. There are things we have to learn. The S stands for self. There are things you have to change about yourself. There are things and ways you behave. Some of those we went over today in the earlier 5 steps. There are ways you look at challenges, at obstacles. There is a ability to read yourself beyond anyone else. To know when you're making excuses, to know when you're justifying decisions, to know when you're waiting for tomorrow. You need to know. You need to be self-aware. That is not a skill that we are given growing up. We are not taught this. So the self, it starts there because most people in the world are employees. So that's why this box is the biggest. Then a little bit less than that get into the self. That's why personal development is one of the biggest industries in the world. How many of you ever read a personal development book in your life? If your hand's not up, you're lying. We've all. And we feel good. And then what do we do with it? We don't do anything. Next thing is catapult. C is for catapult. There's something that we don't embrace in our life, and that is the law of momentum. We want everything now or never. The idea of working for it to get there is just not that appealing. So catapult is the art of building momentum. You want to make $100,000, right? Make 1,000. Then do what you did to make 1,000, do it 10 times, and you make 10,000. Then do what you did to make 10,000 10 times, and you make 100,000. Success is innately simple.
Remember the money map? That's right. Success snowball.
Remember this. Think this in your head. Your goals, all of your goals, are stairwells. They are not escalators and they're not elevators. But that's what you've made them into. So catapult is embracing what needs to be done to literally create momentum. And the easiest thing you can do to create momentum is just do. Make mistakes, screw it up, doesn't matter, just do. Publish that book. Because if you don't publish it, there's no chance of you actually knowing what it is, whether it's even good or not. Do you know that Circle of Profit has sold over 100,000 copies? And the other day I opened it up and I was like, oh my God, there's this issue, this error, that error. Oh my God, how could I have published this thing? And yet it has transformed lives all over the world. Had I gotten into that mode, all of those people wouldn't have had the gift. So catapult, embrace the momentum. A is authority. This is one of my favorites. I always chuckle when I walk into an event venue, and there's all these people that sit all the way in the back, when there's so many seats higher up. Just wonder why. Do you ever wonder what's the psychology behind that? And I always wonder if I put another row behind it, would they sit on that one? And another one behind that, would they sit on that one? Where would we draw the line? See, authority is simple. There's followers and there's leaders. That's it. There's followers and there's a line here, and then there's leaders. Entrepreneurs have to be leaders. Pure and simple. So you have to just do this. But that step is freaking scary. Because you know what? When you own and you lead, you're accountable and you're responsible. It's up to you. I talk about this in my book. I talk about when I was little, I remember this conversation I had with a teacher. I was a very inquisitive young child. I like to ask, I was a little annoying. I like to ask those questions that people are like, just go away. And so I observed something in class. I observed that every time the teacher would say something or ask a question, my hand would spring up. But there were some people that would go, and what I observed very interestingly was some of those people that were right, they were like really smart. Like I know they have to know the answer. They know the answer. So one time I stayed back in class and I asked the teacher, I said, why do they do that? And she said, because they're afraid of being wrong. said, but what if they really know the answer? They're still afraid of being wrong. And I thought, but they can't be wrong. They know the answer. They're right. She's like, but they could be wrong. I'm like, oh my God, we're not going to get anywhere, so let's just forget this. But I have continued to see that throughout the rest of my life. There have been so many opportunities. Something as simple as, I have this all the time. People will say, Anik, how do I feel so alone. How do I find people in my community? Can you start? They want me to go ahead and start this whole code, thousands of dollars of development code, and build this intricate tool that'll help connect Learn Nation students with one another and dance for them and do all this flying stuff. I want to meet people in my area, Anik. You should do that for me. And I simply say, have you heard of Meetup? Well, yeah. Well, why don't you go post a Meetup? Well, you mean I have to do it? Step up. Just step up. The way you do one thing is basically how you do everything. If you can't lead outside, it's because you're not leading yourself. Authority is not just about the outside, it's about yourself as well. If you can't learn, you know what an entrepreneur needs to be able to do? An entrepreneur needs to be able to inspire. You got to learn to infect yourself into people. And if you can't lead, you won't be able to do it. Pure and simple. And you weren't taught this, it's not your fault, but it's not too late. We could still teach it to you. P for people. Oh, people. The hardest one. The hardest one. Least people get through that. When you get through that, then you make it to the big E, entrepreneur. People. People, people, people. You know, it's funny. I was at this family event recently, a couple months ago, and one of my uncles, one scotch too many. God, I hope family's not watching this right now. Jeremy's met this uncle.
Yeah, I have.
Says, what is this Learn Center thing you're doing? I said, oh, uncle, it's a dream of mine. It's a big facility for entrepreneurs and this and that. I thought you do stuff online. So that's a good point. I do. What do you need this for? I said, well, I want to have it. He says, I think it's a bad idea. I think you should do it. Do you even know what it's like to build a building? I said, no, I'm learning every day. I think it's stupid. I was like, dude, do you see the car outside I drive? Do you see the shoes I wear? Do you really still question whether I can make things happen? But people still question whether I can make things happen. And at the same time, my dad starts chuckling next to him. And I look at my dad, and my dad looks at my uncle and says, I wouldn't challenge him if I was you. See, people in our life, I love my uncle. He's awesome. He really is awesome. I've known him since I was like 3. Why is that funny? Since I was 3, 20s.
I know him ever since he got out of prison.
Yeah. He used to get me Slurpees. We're boys. Does that mean I just block him out? Does that mean he's toxic? See, people in personal development, they teach this concept. Like, they're negative people, get rid of them. No. Think about the negative people in your life. They love you. How many of you have someone that just does not support your dream? Go ahead, raise your hands right now. Ooh. Look at that. Now, do you want to go home tomorrow and just cut them out?
Yeah.
All right. There is such a thing as toxic people, okay? Toxic people you get to cut out, but I've actually done some research on this. 3% of negative people are actually toxic. The other 97% of the people are toxic, are negative because of you. Ooh. I came right back to the hand, didn't I? They're negative because you don't know how to manage them. They're negative because you allow them to be. Do you really need to share every little detail about your life with everybody? What would people say to you? How would people support you if all of a sudden you started making $100,000 a month and started taking those dream vacations, buying those dream homes, and driving your dream cars, and having a big-ass smile on your face every time you saw them, how would they support you then? They'd be your best friend. Believe in you. They'd probably be asking you for help, too, by the way that happens. It's you. Learn to manage the people in your life. And what I said is, if you have too many negative people in your life, instead of cutting them out, why not go get more positive people in your life? Right? Why not go out and get more positive people in your life rather than cutting out the negative? So add more positive people in your life. Don't worry about removing the negative ones. People are hard. People are difficult. Learn to manage them. If there's someone that's always negative to you, can you just take a moment to analyze when it is that negativity pops up? Is it when you actually share something? Is it when you say something? Because then don't do that anymore. Let it be. Stop doing that with that person. Guys, that's the escape model.